on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the blood. I'm working on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the blood. I'm working on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the blood.
Welcome to the Under Construction podcast. Join us as we discuss various topics from changing your mindset to anything that we think of in the moment. Like this conversation. I think we're going to have a pretty dope conversation. Not what we intended to do, but we had a great conversation before the pod started, and we're just going to bring you into a bit of that. But before we get started, let's introduce the crew. We got KJ, my guy Cordell.
What up?
My guy AJ, and I'm T-Dub. So, we're going to pivot to a conversation we were having a little bit earlier. Yeah,
Right.
Facts. We're starting off with a detour.
Ours over here.
And we're going to have a discussion about the male perspective of marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So the wedding, all of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, whole thing, commitment, all that. Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah, let's dive in. Let's dive in.
So should we start from courtship and all the whole joint?
Let's start from the beginning.
All right. So
what caliber of woman are we looking for?
Let's go.
Right?
Or,
like what makes a woman marriage material?
Yeah, come
Put
on.
the mic up.
What makes a woman marriage material?
What makes a woman marriage material?
Absolutely. And let's take it in criteria, right? Like surface level.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
A little bit deeper to intellect, and the heaviest layer for me would be spirituality. So let's talk surface level first.
Well, she can't be ugly. Let's be honest.
No mud ducks.
To me.
you.
Everybody has their own type.
Everyone
right?
has a
Yeah,
type.
for sure.
Yes,
for
yes,
sure.
yes.
Respectfully.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's always a to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody
That's
everybody
cool.
watching us,
Yes.
like she should make the hair on the back of your neck stand
Yes, and that's
You know
totally
what I'm saying?
everyone's
Words
taste.
Neo.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. So
absolutely.
that's surface level.
Yeah.
One thing that's surface level, I think, is I don't know if it's conversation, like right away. You know what I mean? Like being able to hold the conversation. I think all of us up here are intellect. You know what I mean? So I think that would be important for all of us. That's just my opinion, just from knowing you guys. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's important because us as men, it gets us to see where your mind is.
Yeah,
you know.
100%.
So surface level, I would say definitely conversation.
Yeah. For me, I think I have to start with appearance, right? Not necessarily how you look, but how you carry yourself and how you present yourself to the world, right? I don't want a woman who's going to dress a certain way, whether she's with me or whether she's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that I can see a woman wear that I would be attracted to just for the animalistic side of myself, right?
Yeah,
but when we're talking about like commitment and marriage material, I'm not going to marry that woman.
Yep.
I'll talk to that woman. I'll take her out. We can spend time together. I'll get to know you, but you're definitely not going to be my wife.
Disposable.
Yes.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, and I think like the importance of appearance is often like, especially as you mature, as you grow, we try to shy away from it. But I think that like you're setting yourself up to fail if you're trying to act as if you're like too highbrow or too like, oh, you're so mature that you don't need to be attracted. Like, that's incorrect.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, you should find something about them attractive.
Right.
At the end of the day, it may not necessarily be like, I think like everybody has like their like optimal looking person, and it may be close to that, or it may be like not as far in that respect, but like something like works, like you said, like the conversation or the personality or the intellect. Like, you know what I mean? Like all these things to me like build up this like this wife figure in my head. Like, you know what I mean? But,
So I mean, for me, appearance is. I'm a fan of modesty. Like, it's like to your point. Like, if we go to the beach and stuff like that, completely different scenario. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it.
Time and a place for everything.
Right. So like, but like just like seeing somebody, nice sweater, nice little style kind of thing. Like it doesn't have no, like this is just me.
Nice sweater.
But, no, but for real, like I'm a fan. So like I'm not the biggest person in fashion. My biggest thing about it is I like picking pieces that people wouldn't pick and then make it look nice. Like make it look like something like, oh, yo, that's dope. The way you put that together kind of thing. Like it makes you want to look at, all right, maybe I could wear this kind of thing. Like I'd rather be the trendsetter than following the trend. Same thing with my wife kind of thing. Like just the way she trying to figure out how to say this. But yeah, just modesty. I like the way she wears her clothes. Like there's certain parts about her that are just her kind of thing. But like how you put it together, how you carry yourself. Yeah, conversation is also, but I think more of my stuff is kind of like diving deeper. I'm more of an intellect person. I like somebody who's smart.
Me too.
Like that's just me. I don't want to.
I think that's all of us though. Like nobody gets to have deep conversations with mud ducks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I can't find something attractive about you physically, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be like the entire package. It could be your eyes, it could be your smile,
Yes.
it could be, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Certain
Yes.
parts, you know what I mean? And I think that attraction builds, like
Absolutely.
especially for me, like you may not be what everyone thinks is a dime, but if we can converse and we can have dope conversations and the way you show me affection, it works for me. Like all of that builds attraction for me personally.
And
You know
to
what I'm
your
saying?
point, nor are we.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a dime to everyone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
like you know what I mean? They say beauty is an eye of the beholder. Like, you know what I'm
sure.
saying? Like, somebody thinks I'm great. So I think somebody's great. Hopefully we align on that. And
Right.
let's rock.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to my lady. Shout out to, you know, everybody.
Yeah.
here
Yes.
saying
Yeah,
shout out
for
to them.
sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, I don't need to be the man to random folks. I'm cool.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
a
got to be dope to
popularity
you.
context.
Like, not at this stage of my life. I'm
Yeah,
cool.
for sure.
Oh, man. So, okay. So we all know. Oh, we didn't get to the spiritual part.
No, he said surface
Oh,
level.
let's
What
do
was
a
the
surface
second?
level
What was
one.
the?
So like the intellect. So I think like
Intellect.
personality, things like that. You
I
know what
think that's very important. Like, can we joke? Can
Yes.
we laugh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we like? I was me and my wife. We can be in a place and give you, yo.
Oh yeah. I'm a people.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, I need
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, I can't
right.
wait to get to my home wife. Can you believe that?
Man.
You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like, I
Yeah.
need that, but also being vulnerable with one another,
Right.
being able to healthy arguments.
That's good. That's good.
You know
like
what I
that.
mean? Because that's healthy disagreement is what we want to call it. But all of that plays a fact in personality, not going too far. You know what I mean?
Because every relationship has disagreements. I just want to throw that
Yes,
out there.
yeah, and being able to apologize when we're wrong with one
Yes.
another, like all those things are things that's very important when it comes to
Yeah,
personalities.
for
and-
me, I need a woman who's not going to be a people pleaser. You know what I mean? Just kind of like let me get away with whatever, just to kind of keep the peace. You know what I mean? Like I was talking to my lady the other day, and it was like 8 in the morning. I was getting ready to go to work, and she was like, "Yo, you pissed me off last night," and I'm like,
It's a fact.
yo, I'm about to walk out the door and go to work. Like that's how we leaving it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, so like what was going on, right? You know what I'm saying? And she was like, this, and this. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, that was more about me than about you. You know what I'm saying? And we had like a brief interaction, but I'm like, yo, I love the fact that she can tell me how she's feeling, right? Because I've been in relationships in the past where people don't say those things, right? And now it's festering.
That
now it comes out
festers,
a month later, and it's like, yeah, because you've been doing it. I'm like, yo, that was like last month. Like that's why you've been. Oh, that's why you've been acting like this whole time. You know what I'm saying? You can't just get it off your chest and we can hash it out, or just have a conversation about it. Either way, you know what I mean, and then be done with it. You know what I'm saying?
Like, give
That
me the
was before work
opportunity.
became.
Give me the opportunity to even like be compassionate to that.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
like you said, like when you said like, yo, that was like more of a me thing.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
Like say it's something about the way you move that somehow is like interfering with the way she is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, like as we grow, like we change a little bit throughout life, and like you know what I mean? Like you're gonna have things that like, oh, this new thing that you do
Yeah.
kind of interferes with the way your
Yep.
wife is and
Yep.
her new self.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, y'all have to talk about that, because
Yeah.
if you do not talk about that, like you go with a month, you go with 3 months,
Yep.
you go with a year of like hurting her feelings every day by accident.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, yo, if you don't
Never want to be in that space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't say what's on your mind, how can I try to fix it, or how can I even consider your feelings?
How can
And
I
now
at
you
least
think
be
I'm
knowledgeable and
dismissive when I
address
didn't
it?
even know it was a thing.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think is when it comes to personality that's important is us men, we want peace in the homes. Nagging and complaining. Woo, that's a no.
Yeah.
If you ain't got peace in your home, your guy probably ain't gonna be there too much longer. And that's just being honest. Like that nagging and complaining, that is not a healthy thing for men. That's something that,
Well, for anybody, I wouldn't just say it for men, but
I think it's something different than for
Yeah,
men,
I think it is a little bit different. Not saying that women don't have their own things, but I think when you present yourself in the world, first off, we're black men, right? KJ and I are large black men, right? So the way people perceive a conversation from, like, I can't be emphatic. I can't be in the workplace or in a professional environment and be like serious and speak with tone. I'm not yelling, but I feel certain way, so my tone changes or my inflection may change. Now people are intimidated by that. Now I become threatening. I'm not threatening. I'm expressing myself passionately, right? Sure. A bunch of other people in my workplace can do a lot worse than me, but because one, I'm a large black man and my voice has a certain tone to it, and if my inflection changes or the level of my passion in a topic changes, now I become threatening, right? Like if you've never had to deal with that because you're 4'5", you know what I'm saying, 112 pounds, you don't know what it's like to live in my skin.
Physically imposing,
because you don't see me that way doesn't mean the rest of the world doesn't see me that way. Right? I could have got pulled over on my way home. You know what I mean? What is that like for each one of us? You know what I'm saying? We already know what it's like when you see the blue lights behind you.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, there's been times where I've been driving through, like I was driving through Sturbridge one day. I saw the police officer, right? Y'all know how my cars look most of the time. Like my
Nice
cars
car.
look, you know what I'm saying? But they're custom to me. Like I like to build my vehicles, right? So my vehicle in Sturbridge automatically stands out. Like this dude ain't from around here, right?
For sure.
Drive by the officer, boom. He's going to take a left-hand turn and he makes a right. I know he's coming to get me. I just pulled over.
Yep.
Why'd you pull over? Because I knew you were coming. How could you have possibly known that? Because where you were, you could have only gone straight or made a left-hand turn, and you made a right-hand turn. Well, that's awfully presumptuous. I said, why? You're here. How is that presumptuous when you're here?
People just be mad when you guess, right?
If I was looking for something in my glove box and you had no reason to be here, you wouldn't have stopped. You'd just been like, but you're here. So my assumption was correct.
Yep.
So here's my license and registration, right? But you don't know what that feels like if you're not in this skin or if you're not in this body. You know what I mean?
So that's why nagging when you get home, it can be a challenge. Now, is the woman's complaint actually legit? It can be, right? But I think the way you communicate it is what's the important part, right?
How you say it.
How you say it. You know what I mean? Instead of just complaining and nagging, give us your concerns. You know what I mean? So that we can make those adjustments.
I think it's a mutual thing of having to pick your battles.
Yep.
And I mean, like, unfortunately, like, we as men, we have a lived-in experience. We have a whole day of, like, I remember I sent it to you a long time ago. I think it was I forgot who it was, but it was like an older poet, and she talked about how like the dude lied to the people at work all day, and then like he dumped on her,
right?
And like I understand how like in a way like just since there's only guys here, I'm gonna say like we can be kind of unfair, to like dumping on the person that we're at home with and not giving them the space to voice their issues, because you gotta be quiet at work, and let them voice their issues, and you allow everybody else to take up whatever space. You let your friends say whatever. You let this person. You let your moms, your dad. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, like you're like, okay, I'm the leader here, so you don't get to talk.
Yep.
That can be a little unfair.
Yes,
so
it can be.
I think compromise is important, and I think a compromise between, okay, I'd love for my lady to pick her battles, but I'd also make sure that I give space that like I know that she's picking them. So
that's good.
So that when she says something, I'm not thinking that she comes with me with everything, because I've been in that relationship too.
Yeah.
Where someone goodness, like I promise you don't got to talk about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I can respect the moderation. When I see somebody being like, when I see somebody understanding like, okay, like that's not a big deal. I'm not gonna triple on that.
Yep.
Like, but we're gonna talk about the bigger deals. I respect that so much.
I think I've had to learn that within my relationship with my wife too, because on your point, black women have their struggles every day too.
100%.
For sure.
Like, especially if they work in a corporate world,
Right.
it's so many biases that the black woman has to deal with within the corporate world
Man, when you
too.
was talking about the sweater, like I was just oh my God, I was listening to a podcast earlier, and women, like, you know, just like women of color, just speaking about like how, like, you know, like maybe like a teacher or in a corporate setting, and
Right,
like,
right.
you know, they wear the same outfit, but not unfortunately, because definitely fortunate for us.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Fortunate for us, you know, like the being voluptuous
Right.
and having curves. Like, what it does is actually like put them in a position of judgment,
Right.
for being out of dress code when they wear the same thing as like
They're in
someone
dress
that's
code,
blessed, like less blessed.
Yep.
In that department.
Less blessed.
Less blessed.
You feel
Their
me?
blessings
Yeah,
were in
yeah,
a different
absolutely.
department.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to them and what they got going on.
Right.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? So they have to deal with that. Like, you
Right.
know what I mean? They have to deal with that level of judgment.
Right.
Their
Or they-
hair, that's
yeah.
very huge.
Man, I didn't and I could speak to that, just like my mom wouldn't let me get my hair braided.
Yep.
When I was younger.
Right.
And like, you know, when I finally just decided I wanted to do it when I was older, like I was like, you know what? Guess what? I'm actually grown and can't nobody stop me, and
Yep.
I want to do it. You know,
Right.
cool. So now I have braids, but it's a whole different thing. Like when I'm like filling out a job application, I'm thinking about it in the back of my head.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, I couldn't even imagine being half my age and being in my late teens. You know what I mean? And being
Right.
like, wow, like just thinking, oh, I want to get this job. I'm available. Da, da, da. Like, I'm not even thinking nothing. And the whole time somebody's looking at me like,
Gangster.
you know what I mean? Like putting all these like different things and making assumptions about my life choices
Exactly.
just due to a hairstyle.
Right.
And like now I'm reverse engineering that because I already know that there's a possibility that I'm being misperceived.
Yep.
Right.
Just because of it. And I'm like, you know, I like, for lack of better words, the defiance of it.
Yeah.
To not be what you could assume.
Right.
And maybe help some people
Well,
with their perception.
I've heard, I heard this from a substitute teacher once. He said the best revenge is when you prove somebody wrong.
Yeah, I don't got time to do that all the time either, though.
Not to
hate
say that
niggas.
you can always you always got the time type of stuff to prove somebody wrong, but like little stuff like, all right, cool, like showing like just because my hairstyle doesn't agree with what your perception should
I get what
be.
you're saying.
Right. Doesn't
Plus-
necessarily mean I'm any less than.
What I do appreciate about it as well is the barrier of entry. Because you know what? If you do,
If you succeed.
if you do misjudge me, take that. For the day I don't feel like proving you wrong, guess what? You're not blessed to get to talk to me. 'Cause I'm a great person to converse with. And that's your loss.
Right.
So if my hair bothered you,
Yep.
go see what's pleasing to your eyes. I didn't know men's hair bothered you for a conversation.
It's not that bad.
But I think what was in, like, so what I was saying as far as, you know, the challenges and nagging, I think it's important for us to, as we were bringing it back,
Yeah.
it's important for us to understand that they have
Their batch too.
their batch too. So the nagging isn't always a bad thing. Maybe that's their outlet to feel safe at home.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
Could
It
be.
goes to go
Absolutely.
back to your thing. Like it goes both ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there's also value in the way you communicate.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like if you come to me and you're like, "Yo, I had a really rough day, and I just want to talk to you about it." I'm not looking for you to fix it. I'm not looking for you to
Clear
heal
boundaries.
me. Right? Like I just need to vent in this moment. Right?
Oh, we
the
just went
clarity
somewhere.
of the
I got you.
preface is like, listen, I'm here for it all. You know what I'm saying? Because there may be a day where I need to vent. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't typically vent in that space, but you know what I mean? If I need to, you know what I'm saying? I would hopefully be able to lead into that. You know what I mean?
got a detour. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Right off of what you said, as men, how do y'all feel when you hear an issue of your partners?
I want to fix it.
I want to fix it 100%. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
How about you?
Of course.
And I feel like sometimes women don't understand that when they bring an issue, like when it comes to our ladies, we want to be mechanics. You know what I'm saying? We want to be the guy that goes in there and is like, yeah, I got that. I'm going to fix that. You know what I mean? And they're not always looking for that. So sometimes the preface of saying, hey, listen, I don't need you to fix me. I don't need you to heal me. I just want you to hear me.
Yo,
right?
y'all all seen white men that can't jump, right?
Yeah.
Yo, so like Gloria Velez, basically, like she's like
Spanish chick.
Yo, she's saying, like she's like, yo, I want you to empathize.
Yes.
I want you to understand. She's like, I'm thirsty, and he's like, bet. Jumps out of bed, go get some water.
Right.
And then she's like, no, I want you to understand how it feels to have had a dry mouth. I'm like,
Right.
What are you talking? And when he said,
But
what are you saying?
don't have to have a dry mouth. I got you. I got you.
I'm understand like that to me, that paints the picture of like us being so hell bent on being solution oriented.
Right.
I'm like, oh snap, you gave a problem and I can solve it. Let me go. I got you.
Right.
Like, come on, like, you know how many people, yo, back to your point about being big black men. Yo, I promise you, yo, scary as hell until we're useful.
Yeah, for
Yo,
sure.
I'm just walking down the aisle in the grocery store. Everybody's nervous until they be like, hey, you're the perfect height to grab that for me. And they put you right to work.
Scary no more.
They put you right to work. So cool. That's great. But I'm like, if I have to do stuff like that for strangers just to shift perception on a regular basis,
You shouldn't have to do all that.
but you have to. Am I right?
Facts.
Yo, because you got to think, how rude am I if I'm just like, man, leave me alone.
I knew he was a.
I'm
That
like,
part.
now I'm
Yeah,
all
true.
that.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Now you're feeding the stereotype.
So I'm doing, so I got to, do it for the culture. I got to do it for the culture every day when I'm just in the grocery store grabbing a bag of chips off the high thing that somebody picked out. It's like, cool, maybe you think a little better of black people today. See you later. And I got to slide. But with that being said, bro, you got to think about the whole thing about like I'm like, yo, I solve strangers' little bitty nonsense problems every day. So if you say something I can solve and I can pour you a glass of water, I got you.
Easy.
Like I'm helping niggas I don't even care about. Why would I not help you?
Yeah.
And I think the problem is that we as men, we can guess wrong.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna get stuck in this like, yeah, I heard you, word. You like, so you're not gonna do nothing about it? I'm like, my nigga, I thought you only wanted me to hear you.
And I think that's the importance of understanding, like men really understanding men and men really understanding women.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if a woman really understands men or understands her man, she will be able to speak to him in a way that he understands and can break it down for him. Like, listen, I'm going to tell you something, but I just want you to hear me. All right, listen, let me lock in with both ears. Let me turn the volume down. I'm gonna mute this. I'm gonna put my phone away. Let me lock in because you want to be heard. Like I have the ability to do that. But if you're like, yo, can I talk to you for a minute? The game's on. Yeah, I got you.
Yo,
And then I'm multitasking, right? If she tells me and she's like, listen, I know you like basketball. I know the game is on, but I really need you to hear me right now. Then I can refocus and say, listen, the Lakers ain't paying me. I'm a fan, but I'm not like crazy like that. Like I'm here for you, right?
Yes.
And I can give her my attention. All she has to do to speak to me in a way that she knows that I will hear her and understand her, and that I can give her what she needs. But you got to understand the people that you're
man,
dealing
if
with.
it's knockdown, drag out, and it's a real issue, like a real issue, I'm dropping everything.
Yep.
But when we talk about compromise, my lady knows where I'm at with the Celtics. So if it's a light issue and she sees the game's on, because I love basketball.
Facts.
If the game's on, we could talk during the game. Yeah. But if the Celtics are on,
Hit me at
we can
halftime.
get to that after.
So that goes.
But that's
in-
our compromise.
But that goes into.
But she knows you, right?
That's what I'm saying.
That's where I
So
was
she speaks your
going.
language. You know what I'm saying?
Communicating that,
She
for
speaks
sure.
your
So
language.
that's what I was going as far as knowing each other because
That's you with the 49ers.
yeah. Well, right now we can talk.
Yeah.
If they on, I wouldn't even care. Right now.
I feel you.
But what I was getting to is it gets to the point where you're knowing each other. When she is thirsty, you already got the glass of water in your hand.
That's a fact.
Like it can become to that point, and I think what's important is it takes time. It takes those arguments, different things. You know what I mean? To know that, like you said, she knows when the Celtics games are on. So I think that's important for us to build that relationship.
We didn't jump in the court.
Yeah. Not this is. I think courting never ends with your relationship.
No.
That's
I'm
what I
saying
mean.
like
Facts.
I'm saying we was talking from where we started from like like first meeting kind of thing.
Oh, yeah,
And
for sure.
we're in court now, but I know you wanted to talk on spiritual, like going to the spiritual side too.
Go ahead.
All right, cool. So for me, it's really just about patience because I'm gonna need patience because I'm not perfect. That's just me. I'm gonna need your patience. I'm pretty confident you're also gonna need mine.
Were you saved when you met your lady?
Yes.
Okay.
Was she?
Yes.
That changes it.
So it was
Totally different.
That's why I said that changes
I'm
it
not-
for everybody's answer.
So because
Yeah, that's why I had to ask. Yeah.
So like I was saved and she was saved. However, like we were still learning to walk, I would say.
Yep.
So
Got
there,
you.
right. Still some things that there were some things that we had down pat, other things that we were still
Like
struggling with.
backslide together.
Listen.
I respect it.
But yeah, so like but just learning these things, learning where they're at spiritually and learning how do we, to your point, talk to each other and converse, but also how do we talk to get the best result?
Yeah.
Because like I could just say something. I know, to your point, I could say something in the wrong time or in the wrong space or in the wrong tone. And like I'm going to need your patience at first to know that I didn't mean it that way.
Right.
Or that like that wasn't my intention. Same thing, vice versa. So just basically like learning, like a space where we can learn each other.
How about y'all? Since y'all weren't.
So my spiritual journey was a little different. Me and my wife met before I accepted Christ. So when I got saved, we were already 5 years into our relationship. When I got
Did
saved,
you just say first or her?
I did. But when I got saved, though, I was raised in church. She wasn't. Okay? So that's a totally
different one, too.
dynamic. Family never went to church. So when I got saved for her, it was a little bit different transition because it was like I was giving her all my attention to now I'm in church a lot. Right?
Yeah, that's completely
Ooh, that's
different.
different.
But one thing I did, but that's something I had to learn because I'm still a babe in Christ. If I knew now, I might have had more of a balance. You know what I'm saying?
get it.
But the way I was taught was church.
Right.
If I went to church
Waist
now,
deep.
if I was now, it would be different. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was to get saved today in the church I'm in today, it wouldn't even. It would have looked totally different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one thing I told her is I'm not putting you before God.
Right.
But I think that was a kind of a light bulb moment for her because then she seen the change in me, which was a good change because my wife was never into drinking and smoking. I was doing all of that. You know what I'm saying? And she seen a good change, but she wasn't sure why I was changing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But because she loved me, she came to church. With no hesitation. She came with no hesitation and was there with me the whole entire time.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? But then what happens is I was raised in church. I was familiar with the word. So I think there became a gap because my intelligence in the word was more intimidating for her.
You had more experience.
It became intimidating for her. So with like me trying to like read the word with her, do things spiritually with her, she didn't want to do it because she felt I was always dominant in those areas. It was hard for her to receive from me. You know what I mean? So there had to be times where I had to learn how to, let's do this Bible study. What do you think about this?
Yeah.
What does this say? It took me a long time to get there to, you know what I mean? To be able to develop a relationship where we can learn how to grow spiritually in the word. But then now when it comes to the spiritual aspect, wholeheartedly believe I'm the head of my household and it's my responsibility to lead my children to Christ and my wife. Because the Bible is clear, washing the woman with the water of the word and different things like that. So one thing spiritually in a heartbeat, if we at a church service and a pastor say something I disagree with, I get in the car and immediately tell her, nope. Because it's my responsibility.
Right.
If I believe what was spoken is wrong, I ain't got to talk to the pastor about it, but this is my house and I don't agree with what was being said. So spiritually, that's something that I think I value very important. You know what I mean? And also her, I listen to her feedback as far as keeping me in line.
Right.
where I need to be spiritually. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I am able to receive not just what I gotta say, but also what she has to say towards me, because I do believe my wife is my covering also too. You know what I mean? She battles for our household. You know, she's a prayer warrior. So that I think that's important too. So that's what I see spiritually, and I think it took us a while to be able to know that where we are spiritually, it completes one another. You know what I mean? There's no competition. But without her, I wouldn't be where I am, and without me, she wouldn't be where she is.
That's good.
Yeah, for me, I need a woman who has a belief, right? I don't believe that she has to be in the same space that I am, because Amber and I are in completely different spaces. Like, both grew up in church, you know what I mean? But I think she's far more advanced in her biblical knowledge than I am, right? Like, I'm trying to play catch up, but I love that she encourages me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we definitely read together, we study together, we have conversations that are like all about spiritual based things. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we're joking and we're watching Netflix and we're doing all of that sort of stuff, but we have conversations that are based around like Sunday service, like, but not just on Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, so what are your thoughts on this scripture? Or, like, you know what I'm saying? We're doing the 1 year Bible right now, so we're just like midway through Exodus, and like after, you know what I'm saying, we'll read 2 or 3 chapters a night, and we'll, you know what I'm saying, have discussions like, what did you get from this? What were your thoughts? You know what I'm saying, back and forth. So I definitely need that, and it's something that I desire, and it's something that's more important to me now than it's ever been before.
That's good.
But you know what I mean, like I just rededicated myself to the Lord too. You know what I'm saying? So after just getting baptized, so like I'm gonna completely thank you, man. So, like,
You just slid that in there real quick.
No, I'm like in a completely different space when it comes to that. You know what I mean?
awesome.
And to have someone who one understands it, two who nurtures that is big for me. You know what I mean? Not something I would have looked for earlier on in relationships, but in the space I am now, it's definitely something that I need 100%. Yeah.
For me, I guess it's always important to know. I mean, I guess I just didn't want to, even when I was away from faith. I wasn't so far away that I could allow myself to be in a relationship with somebody that
Right, who
wasn't
didn't believe.
cognizant of faith.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I had no idea where I was gonna end up, but I knew where I didn't want to be, and I knew that I couldn't like no one could like be like overly into witchcraft or be an atheist or something like that.
Right,
And I
right,
find
right.
myself loving them, like it wouldn't have been able to rock for me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like there's no hips that wide. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not.
Gotcha.
We're gonna touch back on that after the pod.
I'm just saying. Oh man, I mean that's the break.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Nah, I get it though. I get it. So let's detour a little bit. Let's talk about marriage.
We at 30.
Next episode.
We'll jump into that next episode then.
All right.
Sure.
All right. Part 2.
Peace, y'all.
I'm working on the bill.